My name is Leah Crowe, and I work as a contractor at NOAA's Northeast Fisheries Science Center in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. Today, I'm going to talk to you about North Atlantic right whales photographed in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Thank you to my co-authors, all listed here, representing many different U.S. and Canadian organizations. While North Atlantic right whales have been spotted across the North Atlantic, they're most commonly sighted along the eastern seaboard of the U.S. and Canada, where critical habitats have been designated and protection measures have been established. However, the population decline and observed occupancy shifts occurring after 2009 prompted dedicated survey effort in areas other than their known typical feeding areas in the Gulf of Maine. The Gulf of St. Lawrence, outlined in the black box, was previously understudied for right whale presence, with more dedicated effort occurring there beginning in 2015. The enlarged map on the right details the traffic separation schemes within this semi-enclosed sea. There are two main entrances into the Gulf of St. Lawrence, the Strait of Belle Isle and the Cabot Strait, and the main shipping corridor that connects the Atlantic Ocean to the St. Lawrence Seaway bisects the Gulf of St. Lawrence, running between the Cabot Strait, the Hunguedo Strait, and the St. Lawrence Estuary. The northern and southern sections of the Gulf of St. Lawrence are divided along the southernmost 200-meter isobath, and all the sightings used in the analyses I am presenting today were photographed at positions within these colored sections. In this study, we used currently available North Atlantic right whale consortium photo data from 2015 to 2018. And when I say photo in this presentation, I really mean captures on photo or on video. These data came in from over 37 individuals and organizations and include market capture aerial survey data. So market capture aerial surveys were flown by NOAA in collaboration with DFO and others and were designed to maximize the number of individual right whales captured on each flight. These surveys were not flown in the style of line transects, but were instead directed to aggregations of whales, and for the most part, these surveys occurred in the southern Gulf of St. Lawrence. Since the 2019 consortium photo data is not yet available, we pasted together a data set from several sources. It includes the photo sightings captured by the market capture aerial surveys in June, July, August, and October, as well as photograph sightings from other known sources to fill in temporal and spatial gaps. We additionally included the first sightings of any dead whales within that year. This study aims to characterize the North Atlantic right whale use of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, but it also aims to evaluate the effectiveness of market capture aerial surveys. To do this, there are many analyses where we compare those cited in all data, which again are described above, to those data only collected by market capture aerial survey methods. The graph on the left shows the cumulative discovery curve for this 5-year period for both data sets, where the x-axis is scaled for every day there was a sighting in all data, and the black dots indicate the days when the market capture aerial surveys occurred. 189 individuals were sighted overall, and the difference between the total sighted in the two data sets include many dead whales. The big takeaway here is that after the middle of 2018, there weren't many more new whales sighted in this region. The graph on the right shows the discovery curve for all data within each year, and the days when market capture aerial surveys occurred are indicated by the black circles. Overall, right whales were captured in photo data from May to December. There was more dedicated photo ID effort, including market capture aerial surveys, in the latter 3 years. About 130 individuals were captured each year from 2017 to 2019, and most individuals were photographed by the middle of July in each of those years. Overall, the proportions of age and sex classes were similar among years and similar to the proportions in the catalog. To assess the differences between captures by market capture aerial surveys and captures within all data overall, Jolly-Sieber models were used to estimate the number of animals that went undetected in the 2017, 18, and 19 seasons. Here we focused on the date range within each year of when the market capture aerial surveys occurred to compare. In all 6 scenarios, the model of constant survival, constant entry, and capture varying by time fit best. Across all years, the estimated number of undetected animals were low for both data sets, and the marker capture aerial survey data represented the all data set well, especially in 2018 and 2019. For these reasons, we found the marker capture aerial surveys were highly effective in capturing almost all of the individuals estimated to be in the Gulf of St. Lawrence within the specified periods. Because the time period in 2019 covered more of the season than previous years, the best seasonal estimate of abundance we have from these data are 141 individuals in the Gulf within a season. From this slide on, I will only be discussing analyses done with the all data dataset. So this crazy Venn diagram shows the number of individuals sighted in the Gulf of St. Lawrence amongst the different years. And if you can focus your eye on the yellow blob, you will see that all but 7 of the individuals cited in 2019 overlap with other years. That's 95% of the animals cited in 2019 that have been cited in the Gulf of St. Lawrence at least one other time since 2015. 7 whales have been seen in all 5 years, and 60% of all these individuals were cited in at least 3 different years. However, 20% of the animals cited overall were only cited in 1 year. Once right whales come to the Gulf of St. Lawrence, they seem to stay for a bit. This figure shows the number of whales presumed to be in the Gulf of St. Lawrence throughout the season. An individual was considered resident between its first and last sighting in each year. We did check in the catalog, and none of the whales we investigated here were cited somewhere else during its presumed resident period. These periods are overlaid along the timeline for each year, and the brighter colors indicate more whales presumed present in the Gulf of St. Lawrence at that time. Dead whales are also plotted along the timeline in red. Overall, there seem to be many whales in the Gulf of St. Lawrence from June through October, and in most years there are periods that suggest more whales are present than can be detected on a typical survey day. The longest resident period was about 5 months, but it's important to note that we do not know if all of the whales stay inside of the Gulf of St. Lawrence between the initial and final sighting. Some of them may leave and come back, which would suggest more overlap of whales and human activity at the narrow straits to the North Atlantic. The position of the photo-captured right whales in each month across all years are displayed in this figure, and you can see some of the distribution shifts as the season progresses. These maps are not effort corrected, but the number of sighting days are detailed in the gray header bar. Dedicated photo ID efforts have not been extensive in some of these months, like November and December. The dotted black and gray lines represent the straight line distance between sightings of the same individual within the month. 95% of the distance between subsequent sightings within a year were less than 17 kilometers, often less than 6 kilometers. While they are often recited near a previous sighting, there are examples from these data of animals traveling about 80 kilometers per day. Punctuation and 3157 were sighted together off of the west side of Anticosti, and 5 days later they were sighted down in the St. Lawrence estuary. So the distance traveled really seems to depend on what they are doing. In the Gulf of St. Lawrence, these sightings included observations of social as well as feeding behaviors. In the years with more dedicated photo ID effort, we conducted a 95% minimum convex polygon analysis for all individuals sighted on 5 or more different days. These polygons were overlaid to see the most heavily used space from these very coarse data points. As you can see here, there is heavy usage of the southern Gulf of St. Lawrence, although the extent varies by year, and there is also a signal between the northern and southern regions. These shapes show the shortest distance between sightings, but to get between the northern and southern Gulf, the shipping corridor would have to be crossed at some point. A closer look at the animals sighted in both the northern and southern Gulf of St. Lawrence in a year yielded 14 instances with movements in both directions. The figure on the right is only of the females, but they were all adults in the years captured here, and as you can see, some of them have been captured doing this more than once. Again, the gray and black dashed line are connecting sightings of the same individual and only represent the most direct path between subsequent points. Something to point out here also is that 2503, also known as Boomerang, and 2791 were were seen in both regions in 2018, and we now know they were both pregnant at that time. This past summer, the market capture aerial surveys were not able to happen in the Gulf of St. Lawrence, and while many unexpected things happened in 2020, the whales sighted by the other efforts in the Gulf were the typical bunch. Overall, the several aerial and vessel platforms that reported photo sightings to DFO captured 114 individuals, and all of them had been sighted in the Gulf of St. Lawrence at least once since 2015. In this graphic, the white stars indicate bubbles that did not budge with this year's sightings from the figure I showed you earlier in this presentation. The white triangles represent additional animals not seen since 2018, and 2 of these were last seen entangled. Altogether, 49 individuals were not seen in 2019 or 2020 that had been sighted in previous years. Of those 49 individuals, 17 are known to be dead. 14 of them were last seen in the Gulf of St. Lawrence in various years, 10 were last seen in Cape Cod Bay, and 8 were last seen in various other regions in the US and Canada. 14 of those last seen alive are on the watch list for injuries and human interactions. If we subtract these 49 from the 189 seen overall in the Gulf since 2015, we get a number that is very close to the Jolly Seabird seasonal abundance estimate. Especially given the high rate of interannual return we have observed in this region, as well as the many mortalities we know of in the last 5 years, it is very likely that many of these whales are no longer with us. In conclusion, photo ID data is really valuable. This whole presentation is possible because of this tool and the catalog as the backbone. 1/3 of the species is reliably using the Gulf of St. Lawrence for a good chunk of the year. They feed here, bring their calves here, they're pregnant while they're here, and they socialize. We do know there are known threats inside of the Gulf of St. Lawrence. This is an important fishing ground, and an important economic highway runs right through the middle. We do know that shipping and fishing are present in other regions, and it is likely these individuals are encountering threats on their way to and from the Gulf of St. Lawrence as well. However, this is an amazing opportunity to protect a particular portion of the species, which includes reproductive females and new calves. Of the estimated 400 whales in this species, 2/3 of the population are somewhere else during the summer. They're possibly somewhere without protection zones. We do know about 40 animals are aggregating south of Nantucket in the summer, but that begs the question of where the other 200 are. Thank you to the consortium and to all the contributors who have taken photos of right whales in the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Thank you to all of the people who have worked on the field teams up in the Gulf, and to all of those others who have helped with photo ID or with other questions that I've had. Thank you.